and welcome back to the Next Gen Racing's Toyota GR86 League here as we prepare for the penultimate round of racing action. There are only 2 more weeks that remain, 6 more races, and the championship is yet to be decided. 4 drivers are still within contention. Could we dwindle that down to just 2, maybe even the 1 champion by the end of this one? Well, that's what Ben Ouch will be hoping for. Jack Pittas, however, will be hoping to stop him from achieving that. 75 points on offer today. We go again in 2 weeks' time with another 75 points, which means that drivers have a whooping 150 points still to catch themselves up into this championship. Like I said, though, realistically, 4 drivers still very much in with the fight. We'll talk you through that championship fight in just a moment's time. Wherever you are watching here today, welcome in and good evening. If you're over on the Next Gen Racing's Facebook page, good evening to you. There is support for Jack Pittas over there once again. Robert Pittas going that support out. Jack looking to try and take a potential 2nd win of the season after finally finding that 1st win of the season in race number 2 weeks ago in Zolder. Could it be back-to-back race victories in race weekends for him? If you're watching over on the Next Gen Racing's YouTube page, welcome in over there. And make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the events that go on. We've still got the GT3 Championships ongoing, of course. And next week, we've got the penultimate round of the NXTGEN Championship as well, with the final round happening in about 3 weeks' time. So make sure that you are joining us for that one here on Next Gen Racing. If you're watching over on either of the Joseph Wright broadcasting channels, and we welcome you in over there. Good evening to Jordan Osborne. Celebrating fact, he is here. You are, in fact, here. Welcome in. We look forward to tonight's event. And as I say, it is the penultimate round of the season. Only 2 more to go. We head out here at Willow Springs tonight. We head out in 2 weeks' time for the finale of the championship. We go to a circuit that ultimately has become famous for the endings of championships. It can all switch around at Interlagos as we head into Brazil. So make sure you are joining us 2 weeks' time from the virtual racing circuit there. This is going to be an interesting end to the championship. There's no doubt about that. With 6 more races still to go, of course. If you're new around here and you're not sure about the format of these events, well, we've got 3 races in every single night. We start with race number 1 is about 15 minutes in length, and we see the grid set by the results of qualifying, which will begin in here about 12 minutes time. Race number 2, well, that's another about 15-minute race. There are lapped races that equate to about 15 minutes in time. Well, race number 2, it switches around a little bit because the results of race number 1 are what set your grid for race number 2, but we spice it up a bit. The top 15 included in that invert, as long as drivers are no more than 1 lap down. And then finally, race number 3, well, you take your results of race number 2, and this time we flip the whole grid on its head. Again, as long as drivers are no more than 1 lap down for that one, as I see someone cutting the course over there in the background. I was trying to figure out who that was. That was one of the newbie drivers out there, Thomas Potter, who just found his way across the circuit like that. A couple of new ones joining us once again tonight in Thomas Potter. He's running 3rd fastest in the session right now. You also see Aidan Coleman heading out there for the first time as well. He's running 9th fastest right now. And of our 14 drivers that have put in lap times on the board, 13 of them are within 1 second of your fastest man, Phil McDougall. Well, he's not taken a win so far this season. He's been close to it. He's had a few bad evenings, that's for sure. Could we see him on pole position now? We've had 5 weeks of racing so far, and there's been no repeat pole sitter. It's been a different driver on pole position every single week. Is that going to change here today? Well, before we get on with the stats, let's look at how that championship order does line itself up going into the penultimate week of asking. Well, Ben Oucher is at the very top of the board. He has 241 points to his name. Is sitting with 19 points clear of Jack Pittas. Now remember, there's 25 points for a race win, which means if Oucher was not to score any points here, well, that would give Pittas a great opportunity. Top 15 score, there are 16 drivers here today, which means if Oucher was the first and only driver to finish outside of the points, well, if Pittas was able to win the race, he would actually take the lead of the championship out of the first race of the day. That's showing you that there are still opportunities there. And of course, with 150 points still on the board, if I do maths very, very quickly in my head, what that would mean is you'd actually jump all the way down to Nick Clibbins, who is actually mathematically still within a championship opportunity. Like I say, realistically, you are looking at Pittas. Wilson Weir and Doble are a bit of a further stretch in this one. And with that being said, Isaac Doble is not here in this session right now. So that means that Doble, we can discount from the championship from the get-go here. Adam Wilson Weir is here, though, and is running faster than both Pittas and Oucher in this practice session. So 201 points to his name, maybe there is something that Adam Wilson Weir can do. He's only taken one victory so far this season, but then again, so has Jack Pittas. Ben Oucher has taken 6 wins to his name. He just hasn't been as consistent in those, in all of those races, and he's had a few poor races as of late. Then we jump down to Jamie Dory. He's got 135 points to his name. He's sitting 5th in the championship. He's really fighting to try and stay ahead of Phil McDougall, Lee Horn, William Guthrie, and Nick Clibbins behind, who have all got some good points onto the board. Max Andrews. Now remember, Max Andrews stepped in to the car for the first time. I believe it was at Hockenheimring a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, but 2 rounds ago. So in 2 rounds, he's managed to find himself into the top 10. Imagine if Andrews was here all season long. Now, Max Andrews did take victory last week, remember, at Zolder, race number 3. He managed to take the victory of that big gathering of cars right towards the end of the race. Well, Max Andrews was the one that came out on top in all of that. That is your top 10 heading into this evening. Well, the rest of the championship, it does fall further back. Nigel Stock with 91 ahead of Alan McCain. Matthew Jordan sitting in 13th position ahead of Benjamin Gregory, and Mark Kent in 15th. It's then Ross Gillette in 16th ahead of Carl Thompson, Joshua Downing, Lewis Mason, and Michael Wade rounding out the top 20 in the championship heading into this evening's events. Mark Sykes then sits behind in 21st position ahead of Mark Hughes, Matt Gatter in 23rd ahead of Adrian Hernandez, Jack Brown in 25th. Archie Bennett, again, not been here too many rounds, but he in 26th in the championship ahead of Dan Beckett. Drew Halloran, who stepped in for the first time last week, it was for Drew, has got himself onto the board in 28th position. 3 points, but there were quite a few cars actually last week as well. So we will have to see if he's able to get into the points even more today. Again, 16 drivers in this session. Top 15 score points for Halloran, who will be looking to get some more points on the board. Jonathan Berry sits in 29th. Waitons rounding out your top 30 in your championship. At the bottom of the order are the 2 newbies for today. We've got Thomas Potter heading out there at 31st position and Aidan Coleman in 32nd position in the championship, both with 0 points, but of course they are yet to have taken any races. We'll see how it goes. For Pittas, though, he will be hoping that he can get this car around without too many issues, not feeling too well today. And when you're fighting for a championship, when you're not feeling well, it's not the best of ways to head into an evening's set of races, but hopefully for Pittas, he will be able to get some solid points on the board. 5th fastest in this practice session that is ongoing right now. Ben Oucher is only 7th fastest in this session at the moment. So we'll be hoping to find some time in qualifying, because their other championship rival of Adam Wilson Weir, well, he sits up in 2nd position right now. So just as a reminder to you, those are the 3 drivers that we are thinking about tonight, and how they might look going into the championship. I do believe mathematically they are likely to be the only 3 really left inside the championship heading into the final rounds. The final round in 2 weeks' time, but we will keep an eye on where Oucher, Pittas and Wilson Weir are standing throughout this evening's races. This is Thomas Potter, one of the 2 newbies out there today. I say newbies, of course, not new in terms of iRacing or sim racing in general, just new in terms of our Toyota GR86 League, stepping in here in the penultimate week of asking. And alongside Thomas Potter, we see Aidan Coleman out there for the first time as well. They'll be looking to see what they can do against a very competitive field of drivers. Coleman currently 10th fastest in the session, with Potter being 4th fastest, beating only by 2 championship contenders, Wilson Weir and Pittas. And then Phil McDougall, who has been very quick. As I say, he's been quick. It's surprising that we've not seen McDougall on pole position or without a race spin so far this season. But he'll be hoping to do a little bit better today, because that consistency has not always been there for him. But it will be interesting to see what our drivers are able to do around the Willow Springs circuit here today. And what a circuit it is as well around this fantastic Willow Springs circuit, as we welcome you into the commentary booth here at Joseph Wright Broadcasting for the first time tonight. 3 races coming your way, as I said earlier. We've got 2 15-minute races, followed by a 25-ish minute race at the end of it. So it's 2 quick sprint races into that nice long one. And actually, that longer one is a great way to end the evening, because you've got a full invert. It means drivers at the back of the order can try to see if they can figure their way through the order, and it can create some great racing all night long. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And this circuit, 9 corners, extremely flowing. Into turn number 1, it's a tight left-hander, but then if you set it up right, you flow right into turn number 2 of Rabbits here. You can follow along carefully, and if you place it in the correct position up towards balcony, it's a tight, about 120-degree left-hand turn that will send you into balcony, that long right-handed loop. And again, you then exit there with a sharp left-hander all the way down Wing's leg and up towards the sweeper. And the sweeper, the final corner, which you can just see in the small pictures there in the distance, a nice long right-hander, but very easy to push it wide on the exit of the sweeper, because it does get tighter as the corner continues. And because it gets quite tight towards the end, getting it off onto the, I'm not going to say gravel, it's not gravel, it's just the dust that surrounds this this circuit here in the desert. If you get onto that, it can really unsettle the car. We could see a couple of cars spinning out of the final turn if they get just a bit too much of that that dust on the outside, especially in qualifying when drivers are going to be pushing it super duper hard. Now then, if you're watching for the first time, like I say, good evening and welcome in. If you're watching over on any of the NXTGEN Racing's channels, make sure you're hitting that follow button, that subscribe button, show your support over there, and to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the events. And that is a purple notice we all need to take notice of. At the top of the screen there, you can't quite read it, but Jack Pittas has just gone fastest in this practice session. The top 3 drivers, Pittas, McDougall and Wilson Weir, are separated by less than 1/10 of a session in this practice session. 1/10 of a second in this practice session. It's very, very close out there. With practice coming to a close then, a championship on the line with Pittas, Wilson Weir and Oucher all in the mix. But Oucher is only 8th fastest in this right now, as 2 rivals are trying to catch him up, are up inside the top 3. If that goes the way into the qualifying session, which begins in 50 seconds time, wow, that is going to be incredibly challenging for our drivers out there. Right then, we are going to have 16 drivers heading out here today for what is going to be an absolutely fantastic evening of racing around the wonderful Willow Springs circuit. 9 corners ahead of us, and it is going to be, well, what is it going to be? Are we going to see a new pole sitter in 6 rounds. We've yet to see a repeat pole sitter. Adam Wilson-Weir took pole at Okayama. Jack Pittas took pole at Portland. Isaac Doble took pole at Mugello. Nick Clibbins at Hockenheimring. Matthew Jordan at Zolder. Are we going to see a new name there, or are we going to see Pittas, who goes even faster in this practice session, on pole position for a second time? Now, Ben Oucher, despite his 6 race wins, 4 more than any other driver in this series, he is yet to place it on pole position. You don't get points, though, in qualifying. That's not where you need to be at the front. It is the races. For Adam Wilson-Weir, he is one of 2 drivers to have converted his pole position into a race 1 victory. Isaac Doble was able to do the same. For Ben Oucher, though, a statistic that is important to note, he has won at every single track apart from Okayama. Since round number 2, Ben Oucher has taken at least 1 victory every single race. He took 2 at Portland, 1 at Mugello, 2 at Hockenheim, 1 at Zolder. If the statistics are anything to go by, is it going to be 2 again here today? Well, drivers are heading out now for their qualifying session here, and they are going to see what they can do around this circuit. A very tricky circuit to get the flow right. You want to get the toe from the drivers in front of you, but at the same time, you don't want to be too close to the driver in front of you during this section of course. Through the balcony, being too close to the driver in front of you could really put you at a disadvantage. So you're not going to want to get too close to the drivers ahead. However, along this straight here, you are going to want to find yourself behind a driver, getting the toe, getting yourself pulled along out of turn number 6 at the downhill, all the way through the sweeper even and up towards Castrol Corner of turn number 1. Having that toe is going to be extremely beneficial. We are going to ride on board here with Jack Pittas. He was the fastest in practice. He is one of our 3 championship contenders. Don't worry, we will be looking at the fights all the way through the field, but right now in qualifying, we're going to ride on board for a lap here, getting a lot of toe up towards turn number 1, and he gets to dispatch both drivers that pulled him along the front straight there into Castrol Corner. It was a bit of a tighter entrance though, so that will slow Pittas down a little bit as he now goes through the long 190-degree corner here of Rabbit's Ear. Sorry, I should say 300. Actually, it's a further. I'm trying to figure out 200-degree corner to the right there of Rabbit's Ear. Up now into the left-hander. This whole section is turn number 4. I don't know how, but now we go into balcony. You can see a wider line from the driver ahead there, who I'm trying to figure out who it is. That's Wilson-Weir, I believe it was, who just did the wider line. I might be wrong though in all of that, because I think it is Wilson-Weir. He's running a slightly different livery than I'm used to. Maybe my liveries aren't up to date. We're coming up though towards the end of the lap. That is Jamie Doyd backing out, and we now head into the sweeper. Now just watch how this gets tighter as you go through. It's fast, this is all the sweeper, and suddenly, whilst you're still turning right, you're having to get onto the brakes, you're having to line up the corner, avoid the hitting that curbing on the inside. It will really unsettle your car. Back on the throttle as fast and as hard as you can now, up towards the timing line. And for Jack Pittas, he comes across the timing line. McDougall goes on to provisional pole. Wilson-Weir finds himself into second position, falling down though because he did back out. And yes, that is a slightly different livery than we are used to on the okay, no, it wasn't my incorrect liveries. That is just a special livery being run there by Adam Wilson-Weir. It's one that, of course, we're used to the black and red and white that Pittas is running there, but for Wilson-Weir, he is running in this lovely multicolored chrome scheme towards the front of this train of drivers. Now, Nick Clibbins is looking to potentially take a 3rd win of the season. He's taken 2 so far from Clibbins. He took victory at Hockenheimring, race number 2, and before that it was Portland, race number 2. If the I like seeing the patterns in things. If the pattern continues here, Nick Clibbins could win race number 2 here today. But, of course, we can see those times on the left-hand side. A lot of drivers backing out of their laps, just trying to let cars through, trying to find the space around there where they're not hurting anybody, but they're not getting hurt themselves. And it just means that a lot of drivers have dropped off the mark on their opening laps of the day here in qualifying. With 10 minutes on the board, we're looking to still see about 8 more cars actually get laps on the board in the first place for Clibbins. It is fast enough for a provisional pole position. He took pole position at Hockenheimring. He wasn't able to convert that into a race 1 victory. He did win race number 2 though. Will Clibbins be our first repeat pole sitter of the season? Mark Hughes coming around the final corner in the 495 machine right now is 8th fastest, coming up towards the timing line to see if he can improve on his best lap of a 27.580 as he comes across the line. It is a 27.129. It is an improvement, but there are no changes in position for him, but he does go within 1 second of that provisional pole position spot at the moment. Jamie Dory is also looking at trying to find himself up the order for Dory. He's again been a driver that's been towards the front. He's also the only driver this series in the Toyota GR86 who has ended up on his roof in an accident last week at Zolder. Last time out, 2 weeks ago at Zolder. Of course, Jamie Doy found himself rolling over, and we saw what has become a very rare occurrence in the Toyota GR86. We saw the safety car out there, and of course the safety car driven by Gaza, who will be looking to hopefully stay inside the pit lane throughout the course of this evening. But we saw him out a couple of times last week, and of course being supported there by our race control and our race director of Benji. So they are sitting in the back rooms and looking over the course of this race, deciding, making sure that drivers are following all rules and deciding whether the safety car needs to be pulled out. For Ben Outra, he's just pulled out a time that he's really needed to find all evening long. He was not up towards the front of the order in the practice session, but for the full tilt driver, he does find himself second fastest here in the qualifying session. That's when it counts. Practice, it doesn't matter if you're fastest. You can be the slowest. What matters is once you get into the qualifying session, are you going to find yourself towards the front of the order? And for your championship leader, he finds himself ahead of Pittas and Wilson Weir. Wilson Weir, who was looking quick in qualifying, is not looking as quick here. Looking good in practice, is not looking as quick here in the qualifying session. He will be looking to see if he can find himself further up the order. This lap won't be it, though, because he did back out to allow Outra past through turn number 2 of Rabbits here. However, was that a bit of a ploy here to try and get behind? He's maintaining about a 1.6 second gap to Outra ahead. He finds himself off the circuit there. Very easy to do. Push yourself wide. Of course, like I said, that lap time not counting anyway. But for Wilson Weir, he is going to be in the tow now of Ben Outra. Could this pull him along and up towards the top of the order? That was Michael Wade that was stopped on the exit of turn number 1. Off of the racing line, though, so it didn't impact our drivers on their lap times. We ride on board here with Adam Wilson Weir as he comes up towards the balcony section. Very tight section of the circuit. The last time I did any commentary around this track, the only time I've ever done any commentary around this track, in fact, was when we brought the, I believe it was the V8 supercars here, which is, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was. But that section gets so tight. And even in these Toyota GR86s, the balcony section there is going to be really challenging for our drivers to really mount any moves. And a car goes a little bit sideways in front of you, you've really got nowhere to abandon your turn. You can't really jump around the outside. You're going to lose so much time. We could see drivers going through the cars in front of them, knocking them off the track if there's any mistakes through that section, because it's such a tight part of the course. That was Ben Oucher backing out. He's looking at getting the toe this time around, and it's interesting to see championship rivals actually helping each other in this qualifying session. Oucher staying all the way ahead of Wilson Weir until the new lap, and now they swap around. And for Wilson Weir, that support very much appreciated there. He finds about 0.3 of a second over his previous lap. He goes 6th fastest now. He is still a few positions off of Pittas and Oucher, but of course anything can happen. But the further down in the field you are, the more likely you are going to be involved in that anything that could happen. For Oucher and Pittas towards the front of the order, might be able to avoid it. Nick Clibbins, still on provisional pole position with 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, is looking to be the first driver to get a repeat pole position here. Could this potentially be second pole position of the season? And for Clibbins, on a hunt for maybe win number 3. It will take him ahead of Isaac Doble in the win list for the season. They're both tied at the moment on 2 wins apiece. Technically, anyone can catch up to Ben Oucher's record of 6 wins. However, if Oucher was to win today, I don't think anyone else is going to. I don't think anyone else is going to touch him at this point with the 6 wins to his name. Wilson Weir backs out of this lap after giving Oucher the support on his run around. In fact, Oucher going to come up to the timing line now, and Lee Horn has been a little bit involved in all of that now as we go on to another time lap. It's a 9th lap of asking here for Lee Horn, or is it an 8th lap? An 8th lap of asking here for Lee Horn. He's getting the toe from Ben Oucher on this way around, with Adam Wilson Weir getting the toe behind as well. So are we going to see improvements there for Ben Oucher? Even with the toe, it was not an improvement last lap. That is because Oucher invalidated his previous lap. He found his way off the circuit at some point to pick up a 1x, and it meant that that lap time did not count, which is a shame indeed. However, he will be going again. 3.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. We will be starting race number 1 momentarily here as we continue to go around. And looking at these lap times, we're probably looking, what, about 11 laps, maybe 12 laps for each of our first 2 races. And then probably, what, about 16, 17 laps for race number 3. Phil McDougall finds a substantial amount of time. He moves from 9th position to 6th position. I say substantial. He finds about a 10th of a second. And he jumps up 3 positions there, past Stock, Coleman, and, crucially, Adam Wilson Weir, who finds himself down to 7th now. He is on the back end of this train of drivers, though, and he'll be hoping that he can improve just a little bit more in all of this. To go a little bit further up the order as Ben Oucher pulls across to the side and goes slow. That means he'll be giving up this lap. And for Adam Wilson Weir, that was the lap he needed. He goes 2nd fastest, ahead of Ben Oucher by just 19/100ths of a second. Adam Wilson Weir is on the front row of the grid. That's what he needs. Pittas down to 5th, and championship leader Ben Oucher behind Wilson Weir. At the moment, he's going to be starting in 3rd position. I do believe we are going to get an additional lap under their belts here. But that is going to be Adam Wilson Weir jumping off to the side, which means Ben Oucher is without support here. He backs out. You can hear him backing out. He's waiting for Lee Horn. He needs to follow Lee Horn. Look at that. Adam Wilson Weir comes back on. He just did not want to give Ben Oucher the support. Lee Horn jumps ahead of Oucher here. Oucher needs this toe to find himself up the order. That's one of his teammates backing out. That's Lewis Mason. Mason here could be pushing to try and find some time as well. He picks up pace in the number 991 machine. He's a bit of a distance there, but could be trying to pick up just a distant toe here. Interesting strategy from Wilson Weir. He abandoned the support, supporting Oucher there on that last lap. What might Oucher think of that? Well, he's just got past Lee Horn, which means he's got the towel on the front straight. He is not going to have support along the back end of the course here. A long wings leg and out of sweeper, which means I don't think we are going to see Ben Oucher reclaim the front row past Adam Wilson-Weir. Nick Clibbins at the moment looking untouchable as Mason pushes it hard and finds himself off the circuit in the background as well, facing the wrong way. I don't think we're going to see anyone touch Nick Clibbins here. He's 3.5 tenths clear of anyone else in this session. I do believe, as Ben Oucher kicks out the rear end, he knows he's not going any faster. Nick Clibbins is going to start this one on pole position for what is going to be the second time this season. Nick Clibbins is your first repeat pole sitter. It has taken 6 weeks of asking, but Nick Clibbins is your first driver to have got 2 pole positions as we come into the pit lane to end our qualifying laps there. That is going to make this interesting with Wilson-Weir ahead of Oucher. Pittas starting directly behind Oucher on the grid. Your 3 championship contenders. Even though 9 drivers are mathematically in this, I would have said 4 were realistically, but there is no Isaac Doble, which means you're looking at your top 3. This is going to be very, very interesting indeed to see how this championship is going to be looking. We'll keep you up to date with your top 10 at the end of each of the first 2 races, and at the end of the evening, we'll keep you up to date with the entire championship going into what is going to be the final round in 2 weeks' time at Interlagos in Brazil. Right, qualifying is at a close here. We will talk you through your grid order for race number 1 in just a moment's time. The last of our drivers coming down pit lane to end their timing, their qualifying times. And we will see them get onto the grid for the first of 3 races today. As we always love this point on the broadcast. I always look at the timing at this point and I think, oh my word, we have already covered so much and the races haven't even begun yet. But race number 1 is about to begin in just a moment's time. For the second time this season, Nick Clibbins is going to be starting from pole position at the very front of your order. Well, who is going to be able to take race victory? Adam Wilson-Weir and Isaac Doble are only 2 drivers in the previous 5 weeks of asking that have converted that pole position into race 1 victory. Jack Pittas and Matthew Jordan have made it 2 times where the pole sitter has not won in any of the races across the evening. But Pittas did, of course, go on to take victory last week. Can he potentially take win number 2 here today? Well, let's talk you through your qualifying order around the fantastic Willow Springs circuit here for round number 6 of the NXTGEN Racing's Toyota GR86 Cup. For race number 1, Nick Clibbins is going to be starting on pole position. Adam Wilson-Weir will be alongside in 2nd place. Ben Oucher will be starting from 3rd. Lee Horn will be starting in 4th position. Just 0.02 of a second separating Oucher and Horn there. Pittas starting in 5th position ahead of Jamie Dory on the 3rd row of asking. Then it's Phil McDougall and Aidan Coleman. Nigel Stock will be starting in 9th ahead of Mark Hughes, Lewis Mason from 11th, and they are all your drivers that ended up within 1 second of the pole man, Nick Clibbins. Thomas Potter will be starting in 12th place ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Michael Wade will be starting in 14th. Kyle Thompson from 15th position, and Drew Halloran will be starting in 16th position at the back of the order. 8 rows lining up to go into this one. Remember, your top 15 score points, which means if our driver If one of our drivers does not finish this race, they will not be getting any points on the board. But crucially, it means that one driver is going to be walking away from this first race of the day without any points to their name. Now, did anyone take any bets earlier when I said that I thought we were going to get about 11 laps of asking in race number 1? Well, guess what? That is going to happen. Did I say 11? Maybe I said 13. We'll pretend I said 11. It's 11 laps of asking in the first 2 races of the day. I was thinking 11. And then I think I said a bigger number. Anyway, it is going to be Nick Clibbins from pole position here for the first race of the day. He's taken 2 victories so far this season. Can he find a third? Adam Wilson-Weir starting alongside him has won once. Can he find a second? Ben Oucher, starting in third, has found 6. It is going to be 11 laps on the board. And we are green and away for round number 6 as we head up towards turn number 1 as they get a fairly decent launch there. Ben Oucher gets a fantastic launch from 3rd position as we head in towards turn number 1. It is side by side for the race lead. Wilson-Weir to the inside of Clibbins. It's going to swap around though. It is side by side behind as well, but for the race lead. Nick Clibbins keeps the tighter line here. Wilson-Weir could be hung out to dry if Oucher tries to put his nose in. He can't quite do it at the moment as we head up towards the balcony section. It is going to be Clibbins in the lead. Oucher tucks his nose in to the inside. He'll be stuck on the long way round now. Ridley Horn looking to get towards the inside as well. Oucher closes that door. Behind, though, it is going to be side by side with Coleman and Stock. Coleman running the long way around. Stock here. It switches across to the left-hand side. Stock's going to find himself very wide, and that is Mark Hughes getting himself involved, and out of nowhere he tried to get his way all the way around the outside. A little bit of nudge, he finds himself off of the circuit, and Thomas Potter now goes defensive on Benjamin Gregory as we come up towards the sweeper as they're fighting out for what is 9th position here from Thomas Potter at the moment. Mason trying to get around the outside of Gregory into the final corner. It is side by side between the two, and they both find themselves very far off the circuit. Gregory comes out ahead of Mason. Mason not happy with that one. Lights flashing. We head up towards turn number 1 here. It is going to be side by side for 2nd position once more. Wilson-Weir, though, moves into the lead. It's a big slide for Nick Clibbins. He keeps it together, but now he's under attack from Jack Pittas. Pittas looking to find his way up with his fellow championship contenders, and Ben Oucher in all of that has found himself into the race lead. Clibbins finds himself off the track. He does a massive hop, but he gets back on. He's down in 6th position as Lee Horn looks to the inside of Phil McDougall. McDougall looking to defend it as we swing through the right-hander of balcony here. Jamie Dory getting over the rear end of Clibbins just behind as well. But as it stands, they remain single file coming out of balcony. I don't expect it to stay that way for very long. Another little bit of a kick up of the dust there from Clibbins as we exit balcony and up through Wings leg now and in towards the sweeper. A little bit of breathing space for Ben Oucher at the front. He's found 0.4 of a second. Are we going to see Pittas and Wilson-Weir fight it out for second, or are we going to see them working together a little bit to try and catch up to their championship contender at the front end of the field? And this is how it's going to impact the championship right now as we continue to run around. We'll keep an eye out on the top 3 as they go for championship positions. Lewis Mason looks towards the inside of Gregory. Remember, they came together on the opening lap of asking. They keep themselves apart, though, this time. But I'm sure that Mason is going to invite himself in whenever an opportunity opens. There was a door for a moment. There was not enough of a braking zone for Lewis Mason to sneak his way up the inside into Rabbit's ear and try to make the move up to 12th position. It means he has to wait in 13th for the time being, up towards the front of the order here, and it is single file as you go. Ben Oucher leading the way ahead of Adam Wilson-Weir. Pittas pulling McDougall along. The 3 championship leaders, yes, they found themselves to the very front of the order here, but they've not found themselves into a gap. Lots of cars finding themselves off the circuit, out of balcony and in towards turn number 5. There was a little bit of dust being kicked up from Oucher. Clibbins found himself very far off the circuit, and now Jamie Dory is fighting with Nigel Stock. It is Dory on the outside, Stock on the inside. Who is going to come out on top here? Stock tries to get himself better onto a racing line through Sweeper and into the final turn. Dory backs out of it. Could he find a little bit more pace out of the corner here, though? Because it will be a bit of a disadvantage the way of Stock with having to do that tighter line. But for now, we jump back towards the lead because it is 3 wide for just a moment. Up towards turn number 1, and Adam Wilson-Weir gets the inside of Oucher. This is the fight for not only the race lead, but it is your championship fight. McDougall keeping it all the way around the outside, trying to get past Jack Pittas for 3rd position. Up towards balcony, he could keep his nose in here. Oucher putting his car in the middle of the circuit. Adam Wilson-Weir is not going to back out of it, though. He does get his car to the inside. He has to wait behind for just a moment, but now it's invited. Pittas to his inside. He's stuck the long way round. Lee Horn is also to the inside line there through balcony. He's going to have to stay behind. Phil McDougall drops down a 5th position. Ben Oucher holds on to the lead. Pittas now moves into 2nd place with Wilson-Weir down to 3rd. Is Phil McDougall going to be able to take this fight for 4th position back past Lee Horn as we head through Wings Leg and up towards the Sweeper here? We approach the 5th lap of asking. As we come through the Sweeper, it is Nick Clibbins looking to make it 3 wide into the Sweeper. He has to stay behind Lee Horn, and he allows Phil McDougall to stay ahead as well behind. That is Aidan Coleman sending it off the circuit. They are pushing hard behind just as much as they are out the front. This is once again the look for the race lead. Pittas to the outside of Oucher. Adam Wilson-Weir getting in there as well. But now it is Jack Pittas that leads. That is McDougall and Clibbins onto the grass behind through turn number 1. They get themselves back onto the circuit here, but it is a proper scrap for all our drivers out there. Thomas Potter trying to get it ahead of Benjamin Gregory, as that was Stock off the circuit through the exit of Rabbit's Ear. He finds his way back on. Potter keeps it ahead of Gregory into balcony. Has a bit of a slide there for Mark Hughes ahead, but they do keep themselves exactly where they need to be. Aidan Coleman looking to try and get past Nigel Stock after Stock found himself off the road, but they do remain in the order as they were. We come out through Wings a Leg now and up towards the end of the lap. Is Ben Oucher going to be able to try and make another move for the lead? I do expect so. Benjamin Gregory to the inside of Thomas Potter through the Sweeper here of turn number 9. It goes all the way around. It is a long, long turn. And for Gregory, he gets it confirmed early. Lewis Mason there, who's found himself off the circuit on the opening lap of asking, is still trying to find his way slightly up this order as well as we continue to fight around the track and up towards turn number 1. It is all single file for there. Up at the front, though, once again, it is side by side with Wilson-Weir going the long way around. Oucher under attack now from Lee Horn. This is what Pittas and Wilson-Weir need, is for Oucher to find his way falling backwards. If he can go down the order, that'd be great news at the front of this championship fight. We head into balcony. Lee Horn has to keep it all the way around the outside, but he throws himself off the circuit. He comes back on. It is contact with Nick Clibbins, and the pole man finds himself facing the wrong way for Lee Horn. He finds himself facing the right way, and what was just a momentary mistake as he goes off again. A big slide for Lee Horn. He's going to fall down the order now, but it was initially a small mistake there from Horn. And you can just see he hits that bump. He comes back on the tiniest of touches with Nick Clibbin. When you go out there, there was almost nothing that Horn could have done in all of that one. And he does fall down the order after going off again into the final turns here. It is another very close battle. This is Aidan Coleman leading this train of drivers in 6th. He's ahead of Mark Hughes, Benjamin Gregory. It is then Potter side by side with Stock. Stock getting pushed by Lewis Mason right now, as the lead once again changes as well, with Adam Wilson-Weir now into the lead. But we go 3 wide for just a moment as we head into Rabbit's Ear. It's side by side with Oucher to the inside of Pittas behind. Oucher even kicks up a little bit of dust there, and he is going to try and make it 3 wide because Pittas pushes himself off the circuit for Wilson-Weir. He needs to keep it into balcony, and he pushes it on a nice racing line, but it is going to be around the outside there for Jack Pittas. What a line that was for Pittas. And he gets his way into the lead. Wilson-Weir down to second. Phil McDougall now looking to attack with Ben Oucher. He's going to be the long way around as we come out of balcony here. And he can't do it on that long way round for Mark Hughes. He's going to find himself into the wall. It looks like he's come together with Aidan Coleman. What's happened between the two of them? It was a nudge that sent Hughes contact with another driver to the inside. Both drivers off the track. Aidan Coleman will continue around with no further issues. It looks like some minor damage. Mark Hughes will be into pit lane, and it's contact for the race lead. It's disaster. Oh my word, it is absolute pandemonium. We've got a car upside down. It is about 4-5 cars involved through the final corner and all of that. Jack Pittas has come out relatively unscathed. Ben Oucher somehow remains in third. Benjamin Gregory, of all people, have worked himself into second. Where has that come from? That is absolutely crazy. A massive accident for our drivers, though. They all went off at pit lane, which means they've been able to vacate the circuit very quickly indeed. And I do believe that they have been able to avoid a safety car late in this race. That has got to outdo the Zolder accident that we had a couple of weeks ago. That was a massive wreck. At the end of the race here, we will catch up with that one. In fact, we might be able to catch up with it now whilst there's a bit of breathing space in all of this one. It looked like it started with Adam Wilson-Weir, didn't it? Let's have a look at this one. It started, it was contact. Ben Oucher spun Adam Wilson-Weir. Jamie Dory got collected in it, and then Nigel Stock. A massive whack on Adam Wilson-Weir. Now, Adam Wilson-Weir races in VR. That must have been an absolute nightmare, seeing a car suddenly come towards you at full pace, and you can see his car was actually so broken that he couldn't even get it the few inches into pit lane. And we're going to have to watch this one from Stock's point of view here. Through the final corner, there's the contact, smoke, and then bang. And for Nigel Stock, he finds himself upside down. He fortunately rolls back onto his wheels, but we are under safety car. This is the latest safety car we have ever seen. We are under safety car here, which is absolutely crazy that we've seen a safety car so late in all of this. What it does mean is you've brought Oucher back into the equation for a race lead, for a race victory. Wilson-Weir is out there. He hasn't fallen a lap down. If he can get onto the back end of this train of drivers before we go green. Now, I'm not saying he can win, but he can certainly put a number of points back onto the board. This is how the championship's now looking out of this one. Ben Oucher 12 points ahead of Jack Pittas out of this one, but Adam Wilson-Weir falling. He'll be 56 points away from Ben Oucher. And mathematically, Adam Wilson-Weir could actually fall out of contention in race number 2 this evening if it continues this way. But a real shame for Adam Wilson-Weir, because there wasn't much he could do in that. He was just collected in other people's issues. He was spun, of course, by Ben Oucher. In fact, let's have another look at all of this. Let's have another look at all of this. Oh, there you go. That's what's happened earlier on. Now we've seen it from a bit earlier on there. Let's go even further back here, because something was happening between Pittas and Wilson Weir. They are teammates. They're both racing for Type 2. Wilson Weir goes for the wide entrance. He loses the rear end, and as he comes in towards the inside, Ben Oucher is there. And it is just a real shame, isn't it? This is on board Jamie Dory seeing all of this. We'll jump on board with Ben Oucher in just a moment. Safety car is still out. I think we're going to go another lap under safety car. Could be a final lap dash potentially here. There's the nudge there. Not really much that could be done in all of that one, was there? There's the nudge. Right then, let's go back live. We are going one more lap under safety car, at least one more lap under safety car here. So are we going to see a one-lapped dash? That's what it looks like. What this does mean is that Adam Wilson-Weir is now caught up to the rear of this train of drivers. Carl Thompson is catching up, and so is Nigel Stock, but Stock does have a black flag. Now, depending on that black flag, Stock could serve it now if it's only a drive-through, but by the looks of it, it's probably a stop and go, which means that he'll just take that as a post-race penalty. But this means Pittas is leading. He'll be hoping that something happens to Ben Oucher in third. Of course, for Wilson Weir, he was on with a chance to win contact with one of his championship rivals. He's not going to be happy out of that one, but he's still in the event. He still knows, get the points on the board. There's always the possibility. We know that Oucher can have some good races, but he's also had some bad races as well. So we'll have to wait and see how this all goes. It looks like we are going to go for a final one-lapped dash. For Jack Pittas, that does mean that he is going to be leading the field of drivers away on this one. He's going to have to decide when is the right time to go. Are we going to see the safety car pull into the pit lane here? Yes. Away pulls the safety car, which means that Jack Pittas is now in control of the field of drivers as we go on to the final lap of asking. It's the latest safety car we have seen this season. When does Jack Pittas decide to go? Going early could spell disaster to turn number one. Going late, well, that could mean that he is also being hunted all over the rear end. He has gone. We are green out of the final turn here. Onto the final lap of asking. And Pittas finds himself a few tenths of a second clear ahead of Benjamin Gregory up towards turn number one. As the flag goes green, it goes white. We're on the final lap of asking here. Jamie Dory trying to go the long way round on Drew Halloran. On Drew Halloran there. It's not going to quite work out as Adam Wilson-Weir has managed to get himself up to 12th position and looking to see if he could potentially find his way any further up. He'll be hoping for issues towards the front for Ben Oucher. He's going to be hoping that he can find his way past Benjamin Gregory. That's not going to fill him with confidence, though. A quick little blink there. This is going to be the inside for Lee Horn on Thomas Potter. Horn up to 6th position. Potter down to 7th in their little fight that is ongoing through the balcony as he head up towards Wing's leg. That was a little bit of a little bit of dust being kicked up there by Lewis Mason. Is Ben Oucher going to find his way into 2nd position? He's going to need to limit the points that Pittas can get over him. Ben Oucher is going to go the long way round into the sweeper here. Benjamin Gregory is trying to hold on to 2nd position. He's got the inside line. For Oucher, it's going to be all about the speed on the exit now. But for Jack Pittas, after winning for the first time last week, he takes victory number 2. Gregory crosses the line ahead of Oucher. A drag race behind as Wade tries to get past Jamie Dory on the line. He won't quite do it. And Aidan Coleman not quite beating anyone. Mark Hughes ahead of him either. But what an end to the race there. Final lap dash as they all come over the checkered flag. What a way to end that race with a very late race safety car following that accident. With that all being said and done, then let's have a look at the results from the first of 3 races here today. It was race victory for Jack Pittas, Benjamin Gregory coming home in 2nd position, Ben Oucher in 3rd. Lewis Mason finished that one in 4th position ahead of Lewis McDougall. Lee Horn in 6th ahead of Thomas Potter. Nick Clibbins coming home in 8th ahead of Drew Halloran. And Jamie Dory rounding out your top 10 in your results. Michael Wade getting 11th, and after finding himself involved in that massive wreck that pulled out a very late race safety car, Adam Wilson-Weir could only muster up 12th place. Mark Hughes took home 13th. Ahead of Aidan Coleman. Nigel Stock taking home 15th. Carl Thompson, the only driver to not take points out of the first race of the day. With that all being said and done, then race number 1 here is done, and we prepare for what is going to be 2 more races of racing action. Another 11-lapped race, followed by the longer race, probably about I would say 16, maybe 17 laps of asking on that last race of the day. Pittas looking like he is going to do a little bit of celebration over the front of the line. It is only win number 2 of the season. Pittas winning for the first time last week. Well, he goes back-to-back with victories in weeks, and he goes only the 4th driver this season to have taken more than 1 victory. Joins the list with Nick Clibbins and Isaac Doble 2 apiece, and with Ben Oucher, who has taken home has taken home 6 wins over the course of this season so far. Now, out of that first race of the day, then we're going to have a quick word with a couple of our drivers, and then we will take a quick break. One of those drivers that we will have a word with, we will talk very quickly to, is going to be Ben Oucher. He was involved in that late race accident that brought out the safety car, took out one of his championship contenders. We looked at it from a couple of different views there, Ben. It didn't look like there was much you could do. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure. I was asking on the radio to see what people were thinking, but yeah, it seemed that that Adam went a little bit wide, touched the gravel on the outside, and got just slightly sideways, and came back across towards the apex, just a little bit sideways still. And I stopped watching him, having seen him go deep, and was looking for the corner, expecting him to struggle to make his way back to the apex, and just being sideways brought him straight back to me. I tried to slow down and avoid him, but when you're traveling at speeds like that, leaning on the car, there's not a lot you can do to change where you're going to go.
It does mean for Adam, he's out a lot of points in race number 1, but it does crucially mean for him he's going to be starting obviously a lot higher up. Do you think that you're going to be able to find your way through the race, through the order in race number 2? It looked like there was a lot of overtaking there, but a lot of trading positions. It definitely looked quite challenging.
The draft is quite strong here. You have to really nail the corners to make any headway. So it's going to depend what everyone else is like around the rest of the lap further through the field, as to whether I'll be able to make up many places or not, I think.
Right, well, good luck for race number 2 then, Ben. Hopefully you can stay out of the wars in that one, and you can continue putting on some good points onto the board.
Thank you very much.
Ben Oucher, their championship leader, heading into this one. Still the championship leader as we have a look at our top 10 out of the first race of the day. Ben Oucher leads Jack Pittas. It is then Adam Wilson-Weir in 3rd position. That gap opening up behind, but for Pittas, he has closed the gap up to Ben Oucher. Now just 12 points separating them. Isaac Doble is being caught by those behind. Not here today, which means that Dory is finding his way up the order closer towards him. Crucially for Dory as well, he has extended the points ever so slightly. He has lost the points ever so slightly to Phil McDougall, which is crucial for McDougall. Lee Horn also trying to pull his way up towards Dory there as well. Nick Kilbin's in 8th position right now. William Guthrie rounds out 9th, and Max Andrews still holding on to a top 10 in that one. Right then, we are going to take a quick break here at Next Gen Racing and Joseph Wright Broadcasting. We'll be back for race number 2 in about 5 minutes time. So make sure you're not going anywhere. You have restocked your popcorn because it is going to be another absolute thriller of a race. We'll be back in about 5 minutes time. Hello and welcome back here to the Next Gen Racing's broadcast of the Toyota GR86 League. We are here for the 6th round of asking, and we prepare to go racing for the second race of the day. An absolutely fantastic race number 1. It was constant action up and down the field. A massive wreck at a turn number 1, which brought out our first ever late race safety car. Now, not only in the Toyota GR86s, but in most of the next gen events that I've seen, the safety car has never come out so late that it has caused us to have a 1-lap dash on the very last lap of asking. Well, we have another 11 minutes lined up in front of us, and if the track wasn't hot enough before, it is going to get even hotter, not just in the on-track action, but in temperature as well. It was absolutely cooking, 40 degrees Celsius for race number 1 of track temperature. That has gone up to 50 degrees Celsius. It is absolutely climbing now. The broadcast quality, it just doesn't quite capture the same. No matter how much I try to push it, you just can't see the heat haze that is around this circuit right now. As you look into the distance, it is absolutely scorching out there. The temperature in the air rising as well from a lowly 22 degrees Celsius up to 26 degrees Celsius. It is hot out there, like I say, not just in the temperature, in the racing action as well. What an absolutely mega race number 1 that was. A fantastic race 1 victory for Jack Pittas. He kept it all together, and fortunately for him, he was ahead of the big wreck that took out one of his championship contenders in all of that one. It is going to be an absolutely mega event on this one. I noticed for a moment that I've actually got Jack in here, and I didn't pull Jack into here. But now that I've got you actually here, Jack, that race number 1, it was race victory for you. I know that you're not feeling the greatest, but actually, you put on a fantastic show. You avoid the wreck, and it was race victory.
Hello. To be honest, yeah, completely unexpected. I've literally just rocked up this evening with no practice and, like, drove to win a race. Obviously, always happy with that.
And with that win as well, it's great for your points. You've closed into just 12 points now behind Ben Oucher. And Oucher's got 6 wins this season. You've only just picked up your 2nd. It's showing the consistency you've got out there. You've got a lot of work to do here to move up through the order. But do you think you've got another opportunity to get some good points over Ben?
Well, hopefully. He is starting 2 places in front of me, but as you've seen last race, anything can happen, so it's basically just luck of the draw.
Right, Jack, good luck with race number 2, starting 15th on the grid, of course. They've got a lot to do out there. Let's see if you can find your way up the order then. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Jack Pittas there, taking home victory in race number 1. Let's see what he is able to do here in race number 2. And that was a bit of a surprise. I don't think I pulled him in, but he turned up anyway, and it was nice to have a word with our race 1 victor. Let's see if somehow he's able to take race at number 2 victory course. There is a lot of work to move through the field here. And as we spoke to Ben before the break, toe is a massive thing here, and the slipstream that you get in these cars, it's going to be, it's going to be a way to move up the order, but is it going to be a way to move up the order good enough to take home a race victory for any of our drivers that are starting outside of the top 10? Well, we're going to have to find out. For Adam Wilson-Weir, though, he is going to be looking to try and do something with this one, because he is starting on the 2nd row of asking. It'll be Nigel Stock at the very front of the order for race number 2, with Aidan Coleman sitting behind in P2. Sorry there, P2 along the front row. It is then Mark Hughes in 3rd position ahead of Adam Wilson-Weir. Michael Wade from 5th place on the grid ahead of Jamie Dorey. Drew Halloran will be in 7th position on the grid ahead of Nick Clibbins, with Potter in 9th ahead of Horn. And then it'll be Phil McDougall in 11th. Lewis Mason starting in 12th position ahead of Ben Oucher and Benjamin Gregory. Your race 1 winner, Jack Pittas, will be starting from 15th on the grid. And it'll be Carl Thompson, missed out on points in race 1. Well, he's got a little bit of more work to do because he's going to be starting in 16th position in this in the second race of the day. Of course, for race number 3, your entire field is going to be inverted. So that driver that misses out on the points, they'll be starting at the front of the order for the third and final race of the day. We prepare to go green flag racing here at the wonderful Willow Springs Raceway. Some brilliant racing in race number 1. And good evening to those of you watching over in any of the chats and the broadcasts out there, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube or Twitch. Good evening to you all, as Lee picking up racing out there on the track, saying what an amazing job it was in race number 1. Robert supporting Jack Pittas's race 1 victory, and from Matt Pierce over in the YouTube channel as well. Good evening to all of you, and we hope you're looking forward to race number 2, because the lights are up and our 16 drivers prepare to go racing for a second time tonight. We are green and we are away here at Willow Springs for a second time. Aidan Coleman gets a great launch off the line to move into the lead. Adam Wilson-Weir will be trying to do something after missing out on a top finish in race number 1. The heat haze is thick out there. It's why the car's looking blurry, actually, is because it is so hot out there right now. We come through turn number 2 of Rabbit's Ear. Wilson-Weir has got past Nigel Stock at the front of this one. Jamie Dorey trying to hang all the way around the outside of Nick Clibbins as we head up towards turn number 4 into Balcony. It is going to be Potter looking to the inside of Clibbins as well. Clibbins runs wider. He keeps it on the track though. He obviously got sent around in race number 1 here. Contact with Lee Horn, and that is going to be Potter, the man facing the wrong way out of Balcony. He falls to the rear end of the field. If he gets it back going though, anything can happen in front of him. He could find himself back into some good points by the end of this one. Ben Oucher looking to move up the order here. Pittas hasn't done so. He's only moved up 2 places to 13th for Ben Oucher though, as he's looking to get past Drew Halloran around the outside. It's currently 5 places gained for Oucher if he can keep it around the long way round. Up towards the front though, Adam Wilson-Weir looked for the wide line into Aidan Coleman. Couldn't quite make that one work out, and Oucher's going to have to swap behind Halloran as well up in towards the timing line. We go over the timing line, and Nigel Stock now and Michael Wade get past Adam Wilson-Weir. Did he go off potentially through the final corner because he's just had to give away a load of time? Michael Wade to the inside of Stock, and it is side by side now in towards turn number 2. It is side by side behind as well, but Wade carrying all the way around the outside on Nigel Stock here as we head up towards Balcony, looking to hold on to what is going to be 3rd position in this one. No, for 2nd position is what Stock is going for, but he has to back out and let Wade take 2nd. That's Wilson-Weir though, looking to get his nose up the inside. Behind though, it is Noah's Ark, 2x2x2 in towards the Balcony. It is going to be Ben Oucher at the front of all of this. That was Lewis Mason. He found himself sideways and down the order for a moment. I thought it might have been Oucher running the same paint scheme, of course, running under that full tilt machine. However, for Ben Oucher, he does find himself ahead, which and still running, crucially for him, up to 7th. Mark Hughes there, the car off onto the dusty part of the track, out onto the sand. He will fall all the way down the order as well. 14th position, he'll actually be overtaken by Lewis Mason as well as he continues to recover. Back up though into these fights. Pittas looking to try and move up the order. He has now got up to 8th position. He's about a second behind Ben Oucher, but for the points wise, 7th and 8th position. This is really good news for Pittas on scoring those points over Oucher. For Wilson-Weir, he's going to want to try and get himself again a little bit further up the order here. He isn't going to have the best of times with it. You can see the points on the right hand side at the moment. He is very much on the outer fringes of this championship. For Ben Oucher and Jack Pittas though, you can see the points will open to 13 as it stands, with Pittas sitting at 1 place behind out there on the track for Jamie Dory. He is all over the rear end of Nick Clibbins in this train of drivers as well. That was Nigel Stock going off for just a moment, and Aidan Coleman from the lead of the race is out. What just happened to Aidan Coleman there? A mistake all on his own. He sends it too hard into balcony, and a massive wreck for Aidan Coleman. You can see he tries to get the car going, but the front end of the car absolutely broken. He wasn't going to be able to get that moving anywhere. Crucially now, that means Adam Wilson-Weir is fighting Michael Wade, not for second, but for the race lead here. He goes for the very wide line through the final turn. Once again, that was the line that he chose to do when he had contact with Oucher through the right-hander. Right now, though, it is going to be Michael Wade still ahead of Wilson-Weir, but Wilson-Weir has the opportunity up towards turn number 1. He's going to look for the lead for Adam Wilson-Weir. This is 25 points he will be really wanting to take out of this one. He makes that move up the inside of Michael Wade. He moves into the lead for Wade. He is over the rear end. Will be trying to find his way back through to the lead if possible. Benjamin Gregory here to the inside of Kyle Thompson. Thompson unable to hold it on the long way round on that way, and that means that Gregory will be in 11th position for the time being, with Thompson down to 12th. Coleman down pit lane with those damages. We saw Potter, of course, go around on the opening lap of Asking. He is now only about 2.5 seconds off of Hughes and Mason, who have had issues themselves this race. So he still does have opportunities. He'll be taking a point out of this, but he could take even more. Drew Halloran finds himself off of the circuit there. Oh, I've clicked the wrong thing there. This is what happened to Drew Halloran. He was all the way up the order. He sends himself off through the exit of balcony as he came back on. Did something further happen? Because he's fallen all the way down to 14th position as he was recovering there. It looks like he's just had a really slow exit for Drew Halloran, and he just falls all the way down the order. Back up towards the front there, Nick Clibbins. He got pole position. The last time Clibbins took pole position, he won race number 2. Every other week, Nick Clibbins wins race number 2. Well, he's on the hunt to take that statistic once more, to try and take home another race 2 victory. We come through Rabbits here and up towards balcony here. Clibbins is all over Wilson-Weir. That was Oucher. No, that was... who was that onto the grass for just a moment there? I think that was Oucher, wasn't it, actually? Yes, it was. It was Oucher onto the grass for just a moment. Well, grass onto the sand for just a moment. But he does get back on without losing too much time. He's still over the rear end of Nigel Stock. For Pittas, he could be under attack from Lee Horn just behind as well. So we need to keep an eye out on that one, because it could potentially do... well, have something going on. Thompson and Gregory have swapped around position, with Thompson overtaking Benjamin Gregory there for 10th and 11th. We go back up towards the race lead here, because Clibbins is all over the rear end of Adam Wilson-Weir as we come into the final turn. It is going to be toe for Nick Clibbins. Michael Wade wants to get himself involved. He clips that inside curb, gets onto the sand on the outside, but all clear. He carries enough of the speed out. That is Ben Oucher looking to try and make the move just behind, past Nigel Stock, as Jamie Dory looks to try and move onto a podium position as well. Dory keeps the inside of Wade, and he does make the move up the order for Wade. He does just keep ahead of Oucher, but Oucher has now made it past Stock. Of course, this is all going to have an effect on the championship standings. There they are on the right-hand side at the moment, with Oucher reopening his gap to Pittas behind. Wilson-Weir trying to do something in race number 2 after losing out in race number 1. He keeps Clibbins at bay for the time being, and that is going to be Jack Pittas now looking to try and get more points to his name. He's side by side with Stock. There's a little bit of a nudge there. There's just enough room for Pittas to keep his car in, but he has to stay behind in 7th for the time being, trying to set up now for the exit of balcony and in towards Wing's leg. This toe, is he going to be able to go towards the inside line? Is Stock going to go defensive? Stock doesn't go defensive. Pittas gets the inside line as we go in towards the sweeper. Lee Horn behind. We're not used to seeing him in such a chromed car. We see a lot of chrome on his car, but not as much as we do today. But he makes his way past Nigel Stock as well for Pittas. He gets back onto the rear end of Ben Oucher, and he can see that 5-car fight for the lead. Pittas, could he be the first driver to win race number 1 and race number 2? Well, he's got a little bit of work to do, but it's not out of the question, as we have now got 5 laps left to go in this one as we come in towards turn number 1. It is side by side between Oucher and Wade. Oucher tried to get to the inside of turn number 1. It set him on the wider line through turn 2. He has to stay behind for the time being in this fight that is ongoing. That is Jamie Dory off the circuit. Could that invite Michael Wade in as we head up towards balcony? It's going to be the long way round for Wade. It's going to invite Oucher going side by side. There's contact and through goes Jack Pittas. He wasted no time in that. Ben Oucher, a little bit of a touch with Michael Wade. The two of them go wide through balcony and the door opened for Jack Pittas, and he just made what has got to be one of the moves of the race. Look at this. There's the touch. The door opens it. Pittas wasted no time at all to take full advantage of that. And once again, Jack Pittas is in the position to outscore championship leader Ben Oucher. Oucher now gets to the inside of Michael Wade once more. He goes massively on his 2 wheels through the final turn. For Oucher, he has not been able to confirm this move past Michael Wade yet. We get up towards the final turn. It is going to be for a moment Nigel Stock getting involved. Oucher has to try and carry it all the way around the outside. It will turn the inside though. 2 rabbits here and he gets into 5th position. Nigel Stock, Lee Horn though, could try and take this fight towards Michael Wade at the front. In all of that happening, Nick Clibbins got past Adam Wilson-Weir into turn number 1. Let's look at how that one occurred. It was all the way around the outside for Clibbins. He was able to keep the car there, perfectly placed, that when it switched across again for Rabbits here, he was straight to the inside. But this is how the fight returns to be as we go to live pictures. It's Wilson-Weir onto the sand, and here comes Jamie Dory to get involved in this fight. Nick Clibbins wanting to take victory that he lost out on in race number 1. He fell down the order early. It was contact that then sent him around through balcony. He leads the way once more though. Jamie Dory up to 2nd for Adam Wilson-Weir. He needs all the points because now he is only the position ahead of Pittas, 2 ahead of Oucher. He's not going to be getting the points that will keep him inside this championship fight going into the finale at Interlagos in 2 weeks' time. We come across the timing line and Jamie Dory is now looking for what could be his first win of the season. 3 laps to go as we go on to lap 9 of 11 here. It is single file once more towards the front for Mark Hughes though. He is looking to try and get past Benjamin Gregory. Gregory pushes it wide through turn number 1. Hughes gets that inside line and we'll confirm it before we get into Rabbit's Ear. Mark Hughes finds his way into the top 10. Aidan Coleman, he is back out onto the track after finding himself into the barriers from the race lead. But what it does mean, Aidan Coleman will be starting the 3rd and final race of the day in pole position. So if he can keep himself all the way at the front, that would be good news for him. Behind, Ben Oucher and Jack Pittas are taking the fight to each other. As Drew Halloran picks up a penalty here, it could put Aidan Coleman into the points in the 2nd race of the day. But Ben Oucher now looks to the inside of Pittas. It is going to be side by side between the championship rivals as we come into the final turn. Lee Horn back there looking to think of where he could potentially place his car in all of this. But for Ben Oucher, he finds himself up into 4th position. He's up 9 places in this race. Not as good as Jack Pittas, who is up 10. As it's going to be Lee Horn, though, attacking. Pittas now up towards turn number 1, so Pittas could be losing even more points out in this one. To the race lead, Dory and Clibbins are side by side. Clibbins holds on to it for the time being. Horn on the outside of Jack Pittas as we come through. Rabbits here as they try to make any position they can from Lee Horn. For Pittas is trying to hold on to any position he can for the points over his rival Ben Oucher. Wilson Weir down a third, still looking to try and get himself back into the lead and keep himself in the championship fight out of this evening's set of races. Lee Horn cannot keep ahead of Pittas as Pittas goes ultra defensive through balcony, and it keeps the number 28 machine ahead of the 36 machine as they come out of balcony and along to Wings leg here. Back out onto the lead. We're about to pick up the white flag. Could Jamie Dory potentially find his way through into the race lead here? Clibbins looking for win number 3 of the season. Jamie Dory looking for win 1. Adam Wilson-Weir looking for win 2. Crucially for him, looking for all the points that he can possibly muster. He's going to throw himself off at the final turn, though, and he could be under attack. He is under attack from Ben Oucher, who's looking to maximise his points in the second race here for the championship fight. We come up towards turn number 1. The fight going on behind, though, for 11th is still continuing. Lewis Mason ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Is Gregory going to look to the inside of the final turn? Yes! There's going to be a little bit of a nudge between the two of them there, and another little bit of a nudge. Mason is going to go as defensive as he possibly can. So is Nick Clibbins, because Dory tries to get it alongside. As we go into balcony, Ben Oucher is right behind there in third. There's a little bit of a nudge. Dory slides. Oucher looks to poke his nose in. Dory goes sideways. This can invite Wilson Weir in. Nick Clibbins should be in the clear to take win number 3 here around Willow Springs. Lights flashing as we come up towards Wings leg. More lights flashing there from from Jack Pittas. He wants to get past his teammate. He wants to get into 4th position. Wilson Weir wobbles just a little bit. Pittas goes to the inside, and it is going to be position for Jack Pittas. Adam Wilson Weir looks to carry the speed on the exit to regain it. But Nick Clibbins is going to take victory in race 2. Jamie Dory, as close as he can be to victory without getting there, gets second. Ben Oucher holds on to 3rd position. Off the circuit there was Benjamin Gregory as he drove really hard to try and move up the position past Lewis Mason. He'll have to stay behind in 12th place, but what a result at the end of that one, and a 3rd win of the season going the way of Nick Clibbins. With that being said, then let's talk through your race results here at the end of the second of 3 races today. Well, it was race victory for Nick Clibbins. Jamie Dory coming home in 2nd position. Ben Oucher taking home 3rd. Bearing in mind he started what was 13th on the grid. A great result. Jack Pittas started 15th. He came home 4th. A great result for him as well. Adam Wilson-Weir finishing 5th in the end, ahead of Lee Horn. Nigel Sockin 7th, ahead of Michael Wade. Phil McDougall coming home in 9th, and Mark Hughes rounding out your top 10. It was Lewis Mason, then ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Carl Thompson in 13th, ahead of Thomas Potter. Drew Halloran in 15th. Aidan Coleman, after crashing out the lead, had to get his car repaired. Well, he will be starting the final race of the day at the very front of the order. What a result that was here then at Willow Springs for the second race of the day. And talking through all of that, we will have a quick word with our race winner out of that one. Nick, you have taken what is 2 pole positions so far this season. You have now taken 3 race victories. It didn't look too easy though. Race number 1 didn't go your way. It certainly did in race number 2.
Yeah, it was it was definitely a hard one, that one. obviously a bit of defensive driving initially, and then just trying to get to the front without trying to hinder anyone, like trying to bring too many people to the grid. But yeah, that's definitely a hard one. Well earned, I think.
It certainly was. 8th on the grid up towards race victory. Of course, it was not race number 1 that you would have hoped for. You were falling down the order and then you were clipped by Horn as he was going off the track and you found yourself falling even further. We do, of course, say the curse of the thumbnail. It looked like that went your way, but not in race number 2. A great result for you. It does mean, though, for the final race of the day, you'll be 16th on the grid. You've proved you can make your way through the order. Oucher and Pittas have proved you can make your way through the order from the back. Do you think you have another opportunity for a good result in race 3?
I'll certainly try. It is difficult. Obviously, it's a very drafty track, so if everyone works together, who knows what could happen. But yeah, I'll certainly give it my go.
Well, for race number 3 of the day then, Nick, from 16th on the grid, we wish you the best of luck, but congratulations on win number 3 of the season.
Thank you very much.
Nick Clibbins there, going home as victor in the second race of the day. Let's have a look how that all impacts your championship standings inside the top 10 after the first 2 races of the day. Well, it is Ben Oucher who will be leading still, but this time he now has 16 points over Jack Pittas, opening that gap by an additional 4 points. Adam Wilson-Weir is almost out of championship contention. After the next race, there are only going to be 75 more points on offer. Mathematically, Isaac Dobel is now the last driver who is within contention of this championship. So what that does mean is that Oucher, Pittas, Wilson-Weir and Dobel are the only 4 going into the third race of the day to be within it. Dobel will fall out in the third race of the day to make it only your top 3. But will Adam Wilson-Weir be able to put enough points on the board over Oucher, over Pittas to keep himself mathematically in contention going into Interlagos in 2 weeks' time? Well, behind, Dore now has increased that gap once more to Horn. Clibbins jumps up to 7th position ahead of Phil McDougall as well, but the 3 of them separated by just 3 points. William Guthrie holds on to 9th, but it is now Nigel Stock who finds his way into the top 10 of the championship. We'll talk you through the full championship order at the end of race number 3. Talking of race number 3, we will be going to the track in about 5 minutes' time. But for the time being, we're going to take a momentary pause here at Next Gen Racing and Joseph Wright Broadcasting. Make sure that you are sticking around and getting prepared for the third race of the day. With our fully inverted field of drivers, it should be another excellent one to see our drivers working their way through the order. Aidan Coleman's going to start on pole position after leading the race, throwing himself off the track. Is he going to be able to recover in the final race of the day to potentially get a really good result? We're going to have to wait and see. We'll see you in 5 minutes then. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to the final race of the day here in the Next Gen Racing's Toyota GR86 League. The championship could be down to just 2 drivers at the end of this one. There were 9 that were mathematically in it heading into this evening's set of races. It is down to just 4 right now. It will be down to 3 at the end of this third and final race of the day. But if Adam Wilson-Weir cannot find the points to help himself out here, he could find himself out of championship contention going into Interlagos in 2 weeks' time. And that will be the final round of the season, of course. May 26th. Make sure you're hitting that follow button, that subscribe button, no matter where you are watching, so that you do not miss out on the series finale in 2 weeks' time. And of course, you can catch up on the Next Gen Racing with the other events that are going on. We've got the GT3 League, we've got the NXTCC as well, and over on Joseph Wright Broadcasting, we have got a whole flurry of events coming up this weekend as well. So make sure you are hitting the follow buttons over on all of those different pages. Here, though, in the final race of the day, who is going to find their way onto the top of the order? Well, it has been an absolutely fantastic evening of racing so far as we welcome you to the commentary booth once again here tonight. I mean, we have had absolutely fantastic door-to-door battles in both races so far. It is not going to be any different here in race number 3. We've got a fully inverted field of drivers. We have got a longer race. We're looking at about having, I would say, 16, 17 laps into this one over the 11 laps that we've had before. We've already had the safety car massive wreck at the final turn in race number 1, which pulled out a very late race safety car, of course, only 1 racing lap at the very end of that one for drivers to find any position that they possibly could. It was much cleaner in race number 2. We saw a couple of cars around into walls, but no need for a safety car. Is that going to be the case here in race number 3? Well, we're going to have to wait and find out. Of course, as I say, the championship very much on the line here, and it is a championship fight between mathematically 4 drivers. But I haven't got Isaac Doble up there because he is not here today, which means that Doble is going to fall out of championship contention, and it will be remaining just these 3 drivers. Ben Oucher, 277 points to his name. He is currently 16 points clear over Jack Pittas. Pittas will be hoping to try and outscore Oucher by at least a few more points here today to set himself up into the best place possible going into the final round of Asking Interlagos. For Adam Wilson-Weir, you can see that he has fallen 60 points behind, which means if he is outscored by Oucher by 16 points here, he will find himself out of championship contention mathematically. I would say at this stage, unless he wins and Oucher and Pittas finish outside the top 10, I would say realistically, you could probably discount Wilson-Weir from the championship. But we'll keep him up there because mathematically, he is very much still in it. Ben Oucher and Jack Pittas, though, with only 16 points separating them. 25 points for a win, 21 points for second, 18 points for third. I mean, there's lots of points on the board right now for the drivers, so anything can happen between Ben Oucher and Jack Pittas going into the final race of the day here, and we are going to figure it all out because our drivers are getting onto the grid here for the final race of the day, and it is going to be a complete invert from your race 1 results, which means, sorry, your race 2 results, which means that Aidan Coleman is going to be starting the final race of the day from pole position. He was leading by quite a nice little margin in race number 1 before he sent himself off at balcony and out of the race. Drew Halloran will be starting in second position ahead of Thomas Potter. So two of our 2 new drivers actually inside the top 3. Kyle Thompson will be starting in 4th ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Lewis Mason will be starting in 6th position. Mark Hughes from 7th on the grid here ahead of Phil McDougall. Michael Wade will be starting in 9th position ahead of Nigel Stock. Lee Horn from 11th. Adam Wilson-Weir needs to do something for 12th position, but he is going to become very quickly under attack from Jack Pittas and Ben Oucher, championship rivals behind Jamie Dory will be in 15th position on the grid, and race 2 winner Nick Clibbins is going to have to get this one going from the very rear of the field. 16 laps will be on the board for this third and final race of the day. We're going to go racing for about 23-24 minutes of action out there. So get ready for the final race of the day. It is going to set up our championship going into the final round in 2 weeks' time. These Toyota GR86s, yes, the grids haven't been as populated as we often see at Next Gen Racing, but you cannot deny the absolutely fantastic racing that these Toyotas put on week in, week out. So it's absolutely great to see them out there. What is nice to see as well is the about 2 drivers that have decided to put on the correct banner on the top of their cars. But anyway, we are going to go green for the third and final race of the day. We are away with Aiden Coleman pulling away from pole position. Drew Halloran from second, but it is a decent start there from Carl Thompson. He's already jumped Thomas Potter up towards turn number 1 as the drivers all come through turn number 1. It's a lot cooler out there now. The temperature going from 50 degrees down to 22 degrees. This track is going to feel very different for our drivers out there as the temperatures have cooled off significantly. Lewis Mason trying to get around the outside of Lewis Gregory. He now gets under attack from Mark Hughes as we come up towards the balcony, up towards the front. No, Potter goes very wide trying to get his move done on Carl Thompson. Thompson gets it complete though by sticking it the long way around through the balcony and settles in for third position. Talking about settling in, that's what some of our championship contenders are having to do. For Adam Wilson-Weir though, he has already fallen behind both Pittas and Oucher. That is not what he needs, and he's got Jamie Dory now all over his rear end as well. That is a very bright looking circuit, the sun reflecting off the sand and hurting my eyes. We come through the final turn here with Potter back to the inside of Carl Thompson. He has managed to make his way up to third, but he's going to bounce along that curbing on the inside very heavily there. That was Mason off the circuit, but for Potter, because he bounced so heavily off the curbing, it's invited Thompson to get back through, and it's invited Gregory to carry all that speed to the left-hand side of the circuit and finds his way through and up the order as well as we come to turn number 1. It was almost 4 wide for a moment in the gaggle of cars behind, but Lee Horn leads this collection of cars. Mark Hughes, Michael Wade, Lewis Mason in this one. Jack Pittas, your highest championship contender right now, he is involved in this grouping of cars. He's looking to try and find his way up the order. Remember, he really needs to outscore Ben Oucher to put himself in the best stead going into the finale in a couple of weeks' time. That is contact. A lot of cars getting involved off the circuit. It is going to be Lewis Mason, the only car facing the wrong way. But then out of the corner as well, Michael Wade has actually gone around. So that's changed positions quite a lot for Pittas. He fortunately stayed out of it, but unfortunately Ben Oucher has been able to get his way through and still sticking with Pittas out there. Jamie Dory is all over the rear end of Ben Oucher and looking to try and maybe make up another position here as Phil McDougall goes to the inside of Nick Clibbins. A little bit of a wobble there for Clibbins, but he does keep it ahead of McDougall behind Hughes here, and that is Adam Wilson-Weir just behind all of this, looking to see if he can now find his way up the order early doors in all of this one. Right, let's have a quick of a look back here at what happened through the balcony. It was a spin already there from Carl Thompson. Oh, it was contact with Potter. It was contact with Potter early doors. That's what's caused all of that. And then that is how my Michael Wade went around out of that corner as well. But we have seen Mark Hughes down pit lane in this one as well. He's also picked up a penalty coming into pit lane, so I don't think we'll see Hughes continuing to race out there on this one. Lee Horn then trying to get up past Thomas Potter, with Potter falling about 2 seconds off of your leading 3. Aiden Coleman was leading race number 2. He threw himself off at balcony. He's learned from that mistake, though. He'll be trying to keep it on the track this time in all of that. Drew Halloran loses out to Benjamin Gregory, who makes his overtake through for second position. As we look, Ben Oucher has managed to get past Jack Pittas. This is important for Oucher in that championship fight, of course, because it means now that gap is going to have opened up to 17 points, which is going to put Oucher in a very comfortable position going into the final set of races in 2 weeks' time. Of course, not fully comfortable. There's still 75 points on offer, but by having 17 points between them, it'll be as comfortable as he can get. It'll be 64 points ahead of Wilson Weir as well, so not mathematically discounted, but Wilson Weir very much out of the championship fight. But this is Pittas looking to go to the inside of turn number 1 to try and regain his position past Oucher, but what instead it does is invite Jamie Dorey the long way round here to try and get around the outside of Rabbit's Ear. He has to fall in behind, and for Pittas at least it's a momentary breath to take there, but he is going to need to try and get past Ben Oucher quicker and sooner rather than waiting and doing it later here, because he is going to need to put a car between himself and anyone else looking to steal his points away. And if anyone he can do that, he'll be hoping it'll be his championship rival he can place between himself and the other guys. Maybe even try to back him up a little bit into that fight. Up towards the front though, and Potter is now looking to try and move into third position. Lee Horn is up here too, as Horn is pushing Potter in through the sweeper up towards turn number 9 now. Horn is going to have the inside on Halloran and makes that move through. Potter onto the podium for Ben Oucher. He finds his way past Nigel Stock, and Pittas will be trying to follow suit as we come up towards the timing line. We are a quarter of the way through the final race of the day. 4 laps done. 12 more to go as we come up towards turn number 1. Pittas gets the inside of Nigel Stock and finds his way up to 7th. The drivers know they have more laps to work with here, so they can take it a little bit easier. Definitely these championship contenders. That is going to be Jamie Dorey looking to also follow through past Nigel Stock, but round the outside of Rabbit's Ear, unless you can keep it in for the end of the corner and therefore place it to the inside of this left-hander up towards balcony, it's not the best place to be. A little bit of a nudge there. Dorey taps the rear end of Stock. It was a little bit of a wobble on the back of the Nesquik car, but he keeps himself facing the right way. No harm done. They'll keep it racing for 8th position out there in this gaggle of cars that are running around. It stretches up to Ben Oucher in 6th. Oucher is a second off of Drew Halloran. It's certainly not out of touch neither. I would say a Horn and Potter up to 3rd. Gregory almost 1.5 out of Potter though, and then a further 2 to Aidan Coleman. We could be looking at a first-time victory for Aidan Coleman after what could have been a victory in race number 2. He threw it into the wall. If he can keep it together here, he could take home victory in his debut evening of racing in the NXTGEN Racing's Toyota GR86 league here. Across the timing line is Lee Horn going to look to get past Potter. No, he's pushing. He's trying to catch up to those at the front. Jamie Dorey is trying to get still past Nigel Stark as Wilson Weir gets to the inside of Phil McDougall. McDougall, though, into Rabbit's Ear, will have that inside line, that much preferred line. The long way round here, not working out for many drivers. Can Wilson Weir, though, keep his nose in? He has kept his nose in around the outside there, which puts him to the inside line up towards balcony. A little bit of the sand being picked up there from McDougall. Wilson Weir leaves the door open just enough into balcony to not squeeze out McDougall there, but it is going to be up the order for Adam Wilson Weir. For Drew Halloran, though, it is down the order and he's under attack once more here. It's a whole gathering of cars as Drew Halloran has had a bit of a slow run through the balcony section, and he is keeping himself now ahead of this collection of 4 cars. We will go and have a little look at what happened to Halloran in just a moment, but we're going to come through the final turn here of Sweeper, changing positions behind as they try to sort themselves out here and move back up the order. This is a proper fight going on right now for 8th position, as Jamie Dory is going to be on the outside of Drew Halloran up towards turn number 1. There's just enough space for a Toyota GR86 to make it between Halloran and off the circuit. And Dory carries the speed all the way around the outside of turn number 1. It will set him up perfectly for Rabbits here. For Halloran, though, he's on that wider line coming into Rabbits here. It puts Wilson Weir to his inside here, and he could place himself, if he can carry the speed, the long way round, the left-hander up towards Balcony. He's not going to, though. A little bit of a touch there with Halloran. Sends Wilson Weir off the track. Here comes Nick Clibbins. Wilson Weir, though, is now going to push it hard to the inside of Halloran, and he returns the favour. He gives a little nudge himself, pushing Halloran a little bit wide. Not off the track, though, but that is position for Wilson Weir, and now Halloran under attack from Phil McDougall. McDougall looking to try and take the move as we come up towards Wing's leg. It is side by side. Who is Nick Clibbins going to try and support here? Is it going to be McDougall on the left-hand side of the circuit? Is it going to be Halloran on the right-hand side of the circuit? He sits behind McDougall. It's going to be the long way round through the sweeper here. And he backs out. He's thinking, where's the best place to go in all of this? That was a car sideways through the final turn, and it was Jack Pittas. It was Jack Pittas and Ben Oucher. Have Pittas and Oucher, championship contenders, come together? I think they have. It's going to be a wider line from Oucher, and Pittas carries too much speed. He slams on the brakes. So it was contact that sent Oucher around, just about to avoid all the contact there as cars get themselves sorted. But that was Pittas made the nudge, and then Pittas backed out of it. He was not going to take advantage of taking out a championship contender. They both fall down the order. This is the fight for 3rd. Benjamin Gregory and Thomas Potter take the fight here. Potter tries to carry it on the inside line through Balcony, but Gregory can carry so much more speed that wider way around. He finds himself up to 3rd position. Potter 4th position right now. And you can see the trainer drivers have separated out a little bit behind now following that contact between Oucher and Pittas. It sort of caused a few drivers to scatter. What it does mean now is a little bit of breathing space for a number of them out there. Not for Drew Halloran, however, because Ben Oucher has jumped to the inside of Halloran through the sweeper up towards turn number 9. Oucher finds his way up into 10th position. Jack Pittas down in 12th, but will be looking to get past Halloran the moment he can get onto the rear end. The fight for 3rd continues here. As it stands, the gap at the front will open up to 18 points between Ben Oucher and Jack Pittas. That is a 3rd position finish amount of points. For Adam Wilson Weir, he'll be 52 points back. He will still mathematically be in with a championship. 75 points on offer in the 3 races in 2 weeks' time. We come up towards the balcony section, though. It is side by side with Gregory to the inside of Potter, and that is going to be Dory looking to try and get himself now in to the fight as well. He carries it all the way around the outside. He has to settle in behind, though. He is not going to be able to make that move for the time being, and Potter holds on to a current 4th position finish. Dory, remember, has worked his way up from 15th position on the grid. He is your biggest mover and shaker out there right now. Your other big mover, Nick Clibbins, he's up to 8th from 16th on the grid. He's not too far off of this fight for 3rd position. Potter looks to the inside of Gregory. The fighting for 3rd not only is allowing Lee Horn and Aidan Coleman to just pull away at the very front of this field, it also means that the drivers behind are very much getting themselves involved here, and this fight goes all the way down to 9th position. Dory to the outside of Potter. It is Wilson Weir to the outside of Stock behind. It is 2 by 2 into turn number 1. It is going to be the inside line for Jamie Dory over Potter here. Wilson Weir trying to gain that position over Stock as well, trying to get as many points as he can on the board over his championship rivals at the very front of the order. They are still side by side. Stock onto the sand on the outside. It will give Wilson Weir the overlap, but Wilson Weir drives it deep and loses 2 positions. Dory keeps it ahead of Potter, but Adam Wilson-Weir falls it down to 8th position. Nigel Stock retains the position, and Nick Clibbins makes his way up the order as well. And now Wilson-Weir could be under attack in just a few moments' time once again from Oucher and Pittas. We head through on winged leg now and up towards the sweeper, and it is going to be Benjamin Gregory leading this train of drivers. The fight for third that carries half your field in. Jamie Dory carries way too much speed into the sweeper. He'll find himself down the order. He's find himself pirouetting towards the back of the field as well. And Jamie Dory, after what could have been a great result in race number 3, climbed up 10 positions, falls down to 13th, only 2 positions over his starting place. For Nick Clibbins, he is up 10 himself. Lee Horn started 11th, remember. He's up to 2nd right now, as Nick Clibbins looking to try and carry the outside on Nigel Stock. Through Rabbit's Ear, Clibbins side by side with Stock through the turn and on the exit. He can place it perfectly up towards balcony here. It's side by side between Gregory and Potter up ahead as well. Clibbins can't quite turn to the right hand side and get the inside line to defend from Stock, but can he carry the speed all the way around the outside? He certainly can. Adam Wilson-Weir here could potentially put his nose in as well. He certainly does. Wilson-Weir wanting to try and get some more points on this one. He has to stay behind Stock, though, for the time being. Ben Oucher now onto the rear end of this train of drivers as well. Will be looking to move his way back up towards a really strong result here, with Jack Pittas still about a second off of this train of cars. This could be what defines the championship right now. Clibbins holding the outside line, gets past Thomas Potter. Can he get past Benjamin Gregory? He carries a lot of speed out of the final turn and up towards turn number 1. He goes for the outside. Behind is McDougall looking to get past Wilson-Weir on the outside as well. Clibbins can't do it the long way round. There's a little bit of a nudge. He's going to find himself onto the sand. Everyone on the outside line found themselves onto the sand. Clibbins gets back on though, has the inside through Rabbit's Ear, and Nick Clibbins holds on to 3rd position ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Stock and Potter now side by side behind. That's going to be Stock onto the sand. He gets it settled. Potter back into attack on the outside of Gregory in towards balcony, and it's going to be Potter looking to the inside. And these two have been fighting all race long. Every time a driver's come through, Horn, Clibbins, they've made their move past both of them, and these two continue fighting. Stock keeps McDougall and Wilson-Weir at bay. It is side by side between those two, and here comes Ben Oucher to make it 3 wide as we come through Wings leg. It is 3 wide in the fight for 6th position here. 2 championship contenders involved in this one. Oucher backs out behind, and in comes Jack Pittas into this fight. He was a second behind, but all of the changing on positions have invited them into this one. Gregory and Potter continue to fight it out, as that was Pittas into the air and then hits his own teammate and hits Oucher. The 3 championship contenders come together out of the final corner, but Oucher ahead of Wilson-Weir, ahead of Pittas as they come through turn number 1. It continues to be an absolute mega fight for all these positions, but we are seeing a mega fight here for the championship positions as well. Race lead could change around. Lee Horn has not won since the first round of the championship. Race number 3 at Okayama. Can he take win number 2 here in the 3rd race of the day at Willow Springs? He needs to get past Aidan Coleman to do it. Coleman stepping in here today for the first time this season. He is looking to take victory in his debut weekend. Can he hold on ahead of Lee Horn? Well, Horn's going to try the long way around here through the sweeper up towards the final turn. It is going to be 3 laps to go when they come across the timing line here, with Aidan Coleman leading. Horn looking to carry the speed out of the final corner. He does so. He moves to the right-hand side of the circuit. We go across the timing line. Horn led just about over the timing line. He's got the long way round to go through turn number 1 though, but it'll set him up perfectly into Rabbit's ear. Lee Horn has the inside to Coleman. Coleman backs out of it, and Lee Horn moves into the race lead here in the final race of the day. With 3 laps to go, Coleman has led all the way until this point, but that doesn't matter. What matters is who crosses the line in the lead, and at the moment it's going the way of Lee Horn. Gregory and Stock are fighting it out. Ben Oucher runs slightly wide into the sand. Is he going to try and get his nose up the inside of Gregory? He is. He is risking it now. Ben Oucher is pushing. Gregory's off, and he hits Ben Oucher. Ben Oucher risked it. He's into the wall himself. Is it going to be race-ending damage for Ben Oucher? No, he can continue. It's race-ending damage for Benjamin Gregory. For Ben Oucher, he can continue, but he is now behind championship contenders Pittas and Wilson Weir. He'd been safe all race long. He decided to risk it. He went to the inside of Gregory. Gregory overdrove, and then he just, when you're off there, just like we saw Horn in race 1, there's nowhere you can really go for Oucher, who's lucky to keep it facing the right way out of the barrier. So for Ben Oucher, he is down in 9th, but still getting points on the board. Aidan Coleman looking to try and move back into the lead here on the penultimate lap of asking. We head up towards Rabbit's Ear. Lee Horn has the inside on Aidan Coleman to hold on to race victory. Who is going to end up on top here? They can fight as hard as they possibly want because they've got 5 seconds over those behind. Coleman goes to the inside of Lee Horn. He breaks late into balcony, and Aidan Coleman returns to the race lead. Is that the position you want to be in going on to the last lap of asking? Potentially not. It could put Lee Horn exactly where he needs to be when we get the white flag in just 20 seconds time. Aidan Coleman then coming up the race leader towards the final lap of asking. He goes defensive into the sweeper. Lee Horn going for the wider line through. He's going to try and carry more speed on the exit here. We've not seen anyone able to drag race it to the line on the final lap of asking and take victory from behind. Can we see the overtake done up towards turn number 1? Coleman gets a very nice turn number 1. The gap opens to Lee Horn. Horn's not going to have the chance into turn 1. He is going to have to wait later on in the lap to try and make this move for race victory for Aidan Coleman. He now just needs to think about the sweeper. I think that's going to be the big opportunity that Lee Horn is going to try and lay it up for. However, is he going to have an opportunity up towards balcony here? Because Coleman runs wide through Rabbit's Ear. He places him to the inside up towards balcony. Horn trying to make that line as tight as possible for Coleman to get him to overdrive the car. He gets it perfectly in towards balcony. For Lee Horn behind though, he now needs to think, where is the end of this lap going to end up? He's all over the toe. We come out of turn number 5 and up towards Wings leg. He moves to the left hand side. Is he going to try and switch back across to get the inside into sweeper? He can't, because Coleman goes defensive straight away up towards sweeper. It is side by side between Lee Horn and Aidan Coleman for the race lead on the last lap of asking. Coleman has the inside line. Horn has the outside line. They come into the braking zone. Horn backs out a little bit earlier. He's going to try to do the drag to the line. He's got good speed. It's going to be a drag race to the line between Aidan Coleman and Lee Horn. Who's going to come out on top? It is Lee Horn who takes victory by 37 hundredths of a second. Wilson Weir beats his teammate Pittas to the punch for 7th place. And after pace picking up meatball damage, Benjamin Gregory comes home in 11th position. Absolutely crazy racing What an end! And for Lee Horn, it is win number 2 of the season, 37 hundredths of a second, separating himself and Aiden Coleman, who put on an absolutely fantastic showing out there, just couldn't quite take race victory. And with that being said, race victory went the way of Lee Horn, 37 hundredths of a second over the line. Nick Clibbins coming home in 3rd position, a great result after getting 16th on the grid after winning race number 2. Thomas Potter came home in 4th place ahead of Phil McDougall, who just beat Nigel Stock to the line, and Adam Wilson-Weir just beating his teammate Jack Pittas as well. Championship leader Ben Oucher coming home in 9th. Drew Halloran taking a well-deserved top 10 result. Benjamin Gregory came home in 11th position ahead of Lewis Mason. Jamie Dorey taking home 13th. Carl Thompson in 14th. Mark Hughes taking home 15th, and it was 16th position for Michael Wade at the end of that one out of the race. But for a second time this season, Lee Horn takes race victory, and he does so in dramatic style through the final corner. He set it up for a drag race to the line. We didn't see that happening in race 1 or race 2, but for Horn, he gets it going in the final race of the day, and he takes home a very well-deserved race victory. Right then, out of that one, let's have a quick word with a couple of our drivers, and then we will talk you through the championship as well as we go into the final round of asking. We are going to have to pull the man himself in, though. He managed to do it right at the line. Lee Horn, it's been a while since you took home victory, and you did it in absolutely dramatic fashion. A great race there at the end with Aiden Coleman. You came out on top.
Yeah, I'm proper pleased with that. That was quite a remarkable race. Really, just coming through the pack, close race from everyone, and then the hunt down at the end. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Indeed, it was 11th on the grid. You really had to move your way up the order. The tow definitely helping with that. We saw the fight going on with Coleman. You was trading places throughout the last few laps. Of course, you weren't quite close enough at the start of the final lap of asking. And nobody has been able to drag race out of the final corner all evening long. But you proved them wrong. Talk us through that final lap.
Yeah, I knew if the lap before when I got past previously, I thought, do you know what? If I can make a break, a little bit of a gap, I'll be all right and hold it off. But if I can't, then I want to make sure I'm behind him for the last 2 or 3. You know, as you come up the hill, around the corner, just stay really tight to him because I knew it was such a long run to the end. So and most of the race, I was actually quicker through there. But Aiden did say to me just now, he learned and realised where he was being slower, and he picked up, and he was a lot quicker through there for the sort of last third of the race. But I got a perfect exit. And yeah, just out dragged him and stayed tight. He tried to move across, got the side draft as well, and it was 0.037, I think. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. That was a brilliant race.
A fantastic way to end the day then as well. Great result for you. As I say, it's a second victory this season. It's been a while, but a brilliant showing. Congratulations on the victory in race number 3, Lee.
Yeah, thanks very much, and thanks to all the guys. There was some really good, sensible racing there, hard but fair, and enjoyed it. Thanks very much.
Lee Horn there coming home race victor, and we'll have to talk to the man that just wasn't able to get there at the end. It could have been a win in race number 2, but you found yourself in the wall early, Aiden. And in race number 3, well, what a fight that was with Lee, and it came down to just 37 hundredths of a second at the end of it.
Yeah, race 2 there, I was doing fine until Jamie said something about me doing good, and the next turn I just completely missed. No, race 3, what a fight though with Lee. That was some very good close racing there. What a shame to have lost that by. How much did I lose that by?
0.037.
Yeah, that part of the fight I think sucks, but the rest of that was some really good racing there with Lee.
You had some excellent pace out there. Will we be seeing you out on track again in Lagos 2 weeks' time? Because we'd love to see you towards the front again. You showed some really good speed.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I'm not sure. This is the first race I've done with NXTGEN. I did one 2 years ago in the touring cars, but I didn't do too great there. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, we'd love to see you out there, Aiden. It was a shame that it wasn't race victory, but you put on a heck of a showing out there. Congratulations on a second place result in your debut here.
Yeah, thank you. What a race.
Aiden Coleman there, coming home second position in the end of all of that one. And what was a great result in the end for Thomas Potter. In fact, we'll have a quick word with him now because, Thomas, you found yourself in a number of fights out there. And in race number 3, you ended up having a race-long fight going along with Benjamin Gregory before he had his own issues. But you were just putting on a heck of a defense. You were doing a great job throughout. You managed to hold on to 4th position in that final race.
Yeah, absolutely. It was well, pretty incredible. Unfortunately, a bit of contact where I misjudged. Well, first, I don't know. I kept trying to say move around the outside every single lap, and it didn't end up working. It was just once when I misjudged where his car was in my rear. And other than that, it was some incredible battling, and I almost managed to catch back up to Nick for 3rd, but it was an incredible race and an incredibly busy 16 laps.
It was. It was a bit of a mixed day for you in the races. Of course, you had your moments where you were fighting out towards the front. You had your moments where you obviously had some issues falling down. Race 2 didn't go your way. You were facing the wrong way on the opening lap of asking. But how did you find it out there? Of course, your first evening in these Toyotas here at NXTGEN. How did you find it racing?
Absolutely. I mean, well, not a fan of the car, to be honest. It makes some good racing, but it's not very fun for quality laps. But other than that, it's an incredible series and not too shabby for my first round in the actual championship, even though it's the second to last round. And some incredible drivers, incredibly talented, and well, just incredible racecraft from them all as well. So I really enjoyed it.
Wow, well, what was an up and down weekend? It ended up with a 4th position result, a great defensive drive. Congratulations on a job well done.
All right, thank you so much.
Thomas Potter there coming home 4th position in the final race of the day. But that has been a fantastic evening of racing, there's no doubt about it. So, with that all being said and done, we have got one more round of action left to go, and this is how the championship standings are going to be looking as we head into Interlagos in 2 weeks' time. Ben Oucher holds on to the championship lead, 284 points. He is going to have a 15, I should say. Let me correct myself here. I need to actually do maths now. 15, he's going to have not a 25 point, a 15 point advantage over Jack Pittas. That is a 4th place finish, if I'm not mistaken. So it is going to be a proper fight for Jack Pittas, but he could do it. We could see those points closing across the 3 events, but Pittas needs to be outscoring Oucher in all 3 races in 2 weeks' time. Adam Wilson-Weir, mathematically still in it, 53 points behind, though. We could realistically count Adam Wilson-Weir out of the championship, and that was unfortunate, of course. If he wasn't caught up in that that race 1 wreck right towards the end, you could say that he would still be within an opportunity. We would have to discount that now. Isaac Doble falls out of championship contention, not here today, of course. Lee Horn finds himself up into 5th position with that race victory, a single point clear of Jamie Dory. The battle for 5th is very much on. Dory, 6 points clear of Clibbins, 9 points clear of Phil McDougall. Nigel Stock has found himself up to 9th position, and William Guthrie falls down to the bottom of your top 10. The rest of your order then, Max Andrews sits with 93 points to his name ahead of Benjamin Gregory. Alan McCain in 13th position ahead of Matthew Jordan. Lewis Mason finds himself on 15th ahead of Mark Kent. And Carl Thompson up to 17th past Ross Gillette. Mark Hughes finds himself tied on points with Michael Wade there in 19th and 20th place. Joshua Downing sits in 21st ahead of Mark Sykes and Matt Gatter. Thomas Potter, first event on the board. He's got 25 points to his name. He'll find himself in 24th in the championship. 2 points clear of Adrian Hernandez and Aidan Coleman. Drew Halloran finds a significant amount more points after only scoring 3 last time out at Zolder. He finds an additional 14 here. He's 27th in the championship, 2 points clear of Jack Brown. Archie Bennett is in 29th position with Dan Beckett in 30th, and at the back of the field with 2 points apiece, Jonathan Berry and Sten Waitons. We go racing for the final time this season in 2 weeks' time when we head across to Interlagos on May 26th. If you're watching over on any of the Next Gen Racing channels, make sure that you are hitting the follow button over on Facebook. You're hitting the subscribe button over on the YouTube. You're notified when we go live for the final round of Toyota action. We've got the last 2 rounds on the NXTCC coming up over the next 3 weeks as well as the continuation of the GT3 Championship. And of course, when those all come to a close, keep your eyes out. The next set of races will be coming your way, and here at Joseph Wright Broadcasting, we'll be happy to be back to bring you more racing coverage. What that does mean is if you head over to the Joseph Wright Broadcasting page, hit the follow button on the subscribe button over there, you can keep up to date with all of what we do as well. We're going live a lot more this week for various events, touring car action, endurance racing action, Porsche Cups as well, so make sure you're joining us over on Joseph Wright Broadcasting. Here though is a good evening and good night from Next Gen Racing and Joseph Wright Broadcasting. We hope you have enjoyed the fantastic events out there this evening, because I certainly have. It has been an evening of brilliant racing all around, some absolutely fantastic accidents, late race safety cars, late race overtakes, and what a way to come to a close for the penultimate round of asking. Who knows what is in store at Interlagos in 2 weeks' time? We prepare for the finale. Make sure you join us then. We'll be back in 2 weeks from now. Thank you so much for watching here tonight. We will see you next time. Goodbye.